And I am Francis Alban. Welcome to the best news in the country today.
Coming up are the headlines. Tonight, Parliament postpones debate on the report on the bribery committee to Thursday, much to the disappointment of Ghanaians who've been keenly waiting for the outcome.
Also, MDEX and other culpable state institutions sued for negligence, leading to paralysis of Patrick Yeboah.
Residents of Kleko and Agbozume hit streets to protest the activities of Kensington mine days after similar protest in Adina left one dead.
Coming up in business, Agric Minister rolls out 500 million cedi investment to revamp the ailing sector.
Dennis Mepru will be here in a bit with sports, where Black Stars official Palmer disagrees with calls for a local coach to be appointed to handle the national team.
On the international front, Amnesty International calls for arrest of Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir.
Right, you can follow our live stream at GHOne TV /live stream. Also visit us on facebook.com/GHOne TV. Now, members of the public were left disappointed today by Parliament as the House failed to debate the content of the bribery committee's report. The House was expected to debate the report today for approval on Thursday.
Leadership of Parliament decided to postpone the debate on the findings by the special committee probing the scandalous allegation of bribe payment so members could have time to read and study the report. It is not clear yet what the findings of the report are and the recommendations thereof, but North-Tongue MP Okudzeto Ablakwa, one of the three who made the allegation, say he still stands by his word.
All I will say is that as I stand before you, I have a clear conscience before God and man. I did not bear any false witness. I only spoke the truth. And I know that I'm on the side of the truth. And I sleep very peacefully when I go to bed every night because I spoke the truth. I bore no false witness against anybody.
The Jogate Committee was constituted after allegations by the Boko Central MP, Mahama Yariga, that the chairman of the appointment committee, Joe Osewuso, had given 3,000 cedis each to minority members of the committee to approve the then ministerial nominee for energy. The committee was given a term of reference and 4 weeks within which to conduct its investigations. That deadline has since passed. On Wednesday, the committee laid its report before Parliament but postponed the debate to Thursday.
It's a very voluminous document. Thus far, they are printed about 50. But members need to be set to pause through the 50-page document. And I guess because it concerns all of us, we could then take the motion relating to that tomorrow.
Very well. We shall postpone that tomorrow accordingly, because I saw the Honorable Minister leave. Therefore, I was wondering. Motion number 22 will be adjourned till tomorrow.
Meanwhile, chairman for the committee, Joe Gate, has told GH1 News the public has no cause to be disappointed in the work of his committee over the delays. According to him, the most important thing is that the work is done.
No, I'm not the one who decides the business for the day. And today, we presented the paper. You saw it. I got up and bowed. The paper was presented. And you saw that it was on the other paper. So tomorrow, we'll do what we have to do. We are ready, subject to the frailties of a human being. God willing, the report will be read tomorrow.
We waited for some 2 months. That wait still continues. By tomorrow, we'll see when we'll get to see whether the details will come out, and then we'll know who's telling a lie and who's not. But just to remind ourselves of where we've come from as we await this report that will be put out by Parliament when it's made public. We know that when the hearing began, in fact, for all the facts of the case, it speaks to one thing, that none of the witnesses handled cash purportedly to be bribed from any ministerial nominee. That has not been clearly established as yet. Also, no concrete direct evidence of a bribe has been adduced. That's for what we know per the sittings and the details we got. Also, no one takes committee allowances apart from the accounts committee. That was what came up during the sittings as well. Another fact that was established throughout the sequence we have brought to you. So let's now begin to look at the logical sequence of what happened during the sitting. Then we'll know what to expect when the report comes out. First, for Joe Osei-Wusu, the chairman of the appointments committee, he said the allegation of bribery was cooked for political equalization. That is his view. He says this never happened. It was an allegation born out of political equalization. Mahama Yariga, the man who said this actually happened, said, what I said was based on what I heard from Alhaji Muntaka Mubarak. I asked questions. The answers I got is what led me to come to this conclusion on this matter. Then we go to Alhaji Muntaka, who is also a member of the committee. He says, I never handled money or spoke about monies to influence committee members. That's his position on this case. Now, as we await the report, these are the questions that we are still waiting for the answers. Was there ever a bribe? That's a question we are all waiting for. Also, did the committee members receive money at any point whatsoever? That will help us appreciate whether a tag can be given up for what it was or what it was not. Then we'll look at it. And then the trail of truth and lie. Who is telling a lie about this scandal? Is it Mr. Yariga? Is it Alhaji Muntaka Mubarak? Or the chairman of the appointments committee in the person of Joe Osei-Wusu? And who is also telling us the truth among these three men, Mr. Yariga, Muntaka, or Osei-Wusu? Bearing these questions in mind, let's also help ourselves in trying to understand what has been talks of corruption or bribery in Ghana's parliament. The now second deputy speaker of parliament in the 6th session of parliament of this republic had been saying some things at a program. I remember it was a workshop that he made this particular quote. He said, the reality is that MPs are Ghanaians, and there is evidence that some MPs take bribes and come to the floor and try to articulate the views of their sponsors. That's him. That's Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagwin with that view. Also, the former MP for Esikumo Dobeng Brakwa, PC Apio Fori, he's been known to be against corruption. These were his words when the Vodafone deal came around, when it was being changed from PNT to Vodafone. I have never said anywhere under the sun that MPP MPs took 5,000 Ghana cedis. Never said anywhere that whatever I have said is that MPP MPs who were in the chamber of the House during the final vote for the Vodafone deal were given $5,000 US. That's what we know from Parliament. So we'll wait patiently. Between now and tomorrow, the report will be perused by members of Parliament. Then they will debate it. Then we'll know who has told us all a lie, who told us the truth, and how the image of Parliament will be redeemed. So that's it for Insight this evening when it comes to the matter to do with the bribery scandal and our patient wait for the report.
We look at other stories now. Human rights lawyer Francis Sosu has sued advertising agency MDEX Company Limited, the Lejo Kuku Krowo Assembly, the Ghana Standards Authority and the National Road Safety Commission for negligence that has led to the paralysis of 28-year-old Patrick Yeboah. A copy of the writ of summons cited by GHOne News is ordering that the defendants pay an amount of 4.5 million Ghana cedis for the aggravated damages by way of permanent paralysis of plaintiff, economic loss, loss of opportunities to full participation in life, among others.
Recalled that GHOne TV first broke the news about the harrowing experience 28-year-old Patrick Yeboah, a second-year student of Zenith University College, had to go through after a billboard allegedly belonging to MDEX Advertising fell on him on the Spintex Road. On that fateful day, Patrick was on his way to work when the billboard fell on him at about 12 noon. Patrick is now bedridden and is unable to walk. His paralysis has impoverished his family and they are currently demanding for justice. Attempts to get MDEX Company Limited to comment on the matter has proved futile, as officials of the company have failed to make an official comment about the issue. Human rights lawyer Francis Sosu took the matter up on behalf of Francis and has now sued MDEX Company Limited, the Lejokukukrowo Assembly, the Ghana Standards Authority and the National Road Safety Commission for negligence that has led to the paralysis of 28-year-old Patrick Yeboah. The plaintiff is demanding that the defendants pay an amount of 4.5 million Ghana cedis for the aggravated damages by way of permanent paralysis of the plaintiff, economic loss, loss of opportunities to full participation in life, among others.
Let's now speak to Francis Xavier Sosu, the lawyer who's filed this writ. But how did you arrive at the amount in question that you are demanding, the over 4 million Ghana cedis that you're asking for?
We don't often have any specific criteria apart from the court filing fees. That usually becomes a limitation. You would agree with me that when you look at Patrick's current condition, I don't think 4 million Ghana cedi will be able to even restore him to his health and let him have all the opportunities to life that he's lost. But then again, we are limited by resources available for filing fees, and that is why we eventually settled with the family on 4.5 million Ghana cedis.
So as you filed this writ suing the companies in question, what will be the procedure now? Now that you filed the writ, what happens next?
Well, now that we have filed a writ, we are looking forward to the parties involved to be served, God willing, tomorrow. And after they have been served, we are expecting that within 7 days they would enter appearance and subsequently file their defenses to the action. And then we can do our reply and set the matter down for hearing so that we can go to court and give evidence to prove the damages that have Patrick has suffered, so that we can prove our claim before the court.
All right, Francis, before we let you go, how is Patrick doing?
By God's grace, Patrick is doing well. Now, at least he has a reason to smile and to laugh because of the assistance given to Patrick through GHOne's broadcasting of his condition. Indeed, the news when it broke has actually attracted many people coming to his aid, and he's doing quite well. And I must even say that there is a group called, I think, Justice for Patrick. They went around rallying to raise money for us to be able to raise close to 4,000 for filing fees of his case. So I think based on what GHOne did, there has been very positive responses, and Patrick is very happy and very positive.
All right, thank you very much. Francis Xavier Sosu is a lawyer for Patrick Yeboah, the young man who was left paralyzed sometime last year on his way to work when a billboard fell off him. Now, let's take a look at other stories. Minister for Railway Development, Joe Gatti, says the sector holds great potential for the economic transformation of the country, which even surpasses that of oil and gas. According to the former Attorney General, proceeds from oil and gas so far have done very little in impacting development. He was speaking to GHOne News after the approval of a budget estimate for the ministry today.
I was sitting by Honorable Chair Mr. Bonsu, and I said to him that, Minister, I think oil did not bring in that amount, and he confirmed that oil brought in 800 million last year. Now, if we are going to spend $2 to $3 billion to go to Paga, and the oil sector brought in $8 million, and the oil sector brought so much excitement, and the rail sector is going to bring 2 or 3 times the amount of oil sector, then we should be excited. We are not going to do all this from our budget, but at least our budget gives us money to move. It gives us money to do a feasibility study. Our budget gives us money to do from Accra to Takwa, to strengthen the line from Accra to Takwa. So we are happy with our budget. We think that our budget to move from 10 million to 500 million, if I say I'm not happy, then I'm a greedy person. Next year, we'll ask for more. But this year, what we have, the structure we have, we thank God.
Now, Mr. Joe Gatti hails from the Western region, so let's head there briefly, where the Regional Police Commander, DCOP Kwesiduku, has stormed the Jomoro Township following clashes between some irate youth and the police. The youth in the community are alleged to have besieged the Jomoro police station and destroyed properties running into thousands of Ghana cedis following the death of one of their colleagues in police cells.
A 45-year-old coconut farmer, Yawi Saba, is alleged to have died in police cells after he was arrested for stealing from a nearby shop in the township. Several attempts by the relatives of Yawi Saba to grant him bail proved futile, only to be told he died in police cells on Wednesday morning. The death of Yao was not taken kindly by the community members, especially the youth who stormed the Jomoro police station, destroying several items in the process. Western Regional Police Commander DCOP Kwesiduku visited the township on Wednesday to settle the misunderstanding between the aggrieved residents and the police.
Residents of Agbozume and Kleko in the Ketu South municipality have petitioned President Akufo-Addo over the operations of the Kensington salt factory. This was after a demonstration today to protest what they say is the adverse effect of the company's operations on their lives.
Clad in red attire with placards, the aggrieved locals marched for several kilometers from Agbozume to the Municipal Assembly at Denutoko to present their petition to government. According to them, the Indian firm, which has been mining salt from the lagoon in the area since 2011, has failed to comply with the agreed terms of engagement. They said the firm's failure to source seawater for its operations has resulted in the drying up of the lagoon, which the adjoining communities, including Agbozume, Kleko, and Adina, rely on for fishing. The situation, the residents noted, has deprived them of their livelihoods as their source of drinking water and for irrigation has dried up due to the factory's resort to underground water. Wednesday's protest by the residents of Agbozume and Kleko comes barely a few weeks after a similar one by their neighbors in Adina, which led to the death of one person. Koku Amedome, leader of the demonstrators who presented their petition to the Ketu South Municipal Coordinating Director, wants President Akufo-Addo to institute a probe into the Indian firm's operations, which has become a great source of concern to residents.
We are not having any good water. We are not having our coconut trees are dying. We are not having any good temperature. The temperature changed to high density temperature. So this time we are all feeling uncomfortable in the environment. So that is the problem we are facing.
Careful analysis and deductions of the facts and the tone of the agreement as put forward has no other conclusions to be drawn than to say that there is a fundamental base.
The Ketu South Municipal Coordinating Director promised to forward the petition to the appropriate quarters for redress. He, however, appealed to the residents to remain calm as steps are taken to address their concerns. Lambert Ativo's report from Ketu South.
Well, talk of demonstrations in the Western region, back in Takoradi, there has been one involving residents of New Takoradi, a fishing community. They took to the streets today to demonstrate about the bad roads that are actually affecting their lives adversely.
This is about the 10th time residents have blocked the road. Residents burnt ties and virtually brought the community and other major economic activities in the enclave to a halt.
Let's come back to Accra, where the Psychiatric Hospital's laboratory is on the verge of collapse as almost all the equipment at the lab department have broken down for years. The department currently has only one equipment functioning, that's the hematology machine, which has also been adjusted with cotton wool to avoid a total shutdown. Patients at the hospital now have to be conveyed to other labs for medical tests. The situation, officials say, has taken a huge toll on operations. Here's a report by Alice Aite.
The Accra Psychiatric Hospital, which was built in 1904 and is arguably the oldest psychiatric facility in the country, is still grappling with serious infrastructural and logistics challenges. For a hospital that treats over 90% of psychiatric cases in the country, one would have thought facilities at the center would be at par with best practices worldwide. But sadly, this is not the case. Aside being cash-strapped and infrastructurally handicapped, the hospital laboratory where majority of work is carried out to determine the sanity or otherwise of inmates is nearing a total shutdown. The facility has no biochemistry analyzer for kidney, liver, cholesterol and diabetes tests, while the only hematology analyzer used for testing for the full blood counts of patients has almost broken down, with cotton wools used to adjust it to function.
At the moment, as I indicated, we try our best to look at some of the cases that we can. The very routine ones that we can improvise and all that, we try. But for ones that the machines are broken, are beyond repairs, we send them out. You can imagine where a patient is aggressive or where a patient is immobilized, and staff will have to manage and then take this patient out on a referral for laboratory investigations that you could have done in-house. So these are some of the challenges.
The electroconvulsive therapy machine used in treating mood disorders, which is associated with suicides, has also broken down since 2015, making it difficult to properly and holistically treat patients diagnosed with such conditions. In 2016, the hospital alone diagnosed 9,523 cases of mood disorders, a situation management believes is a major cause of the recent spate of suicides in the country. And in a country where suicides have recently been on an increase, one would thought that mental health care will be prioritized, as 90% of those who commit suicide have a diagnosable mental disorder. Officials are eager and earnestly waiting for where their next help will come from. Alice Aite, GHOne News.
Well, the Accra Psychiatric Hospital in 2016 recorded 9,523 cases of mood disorders, a situation psychiatrists at the facility believe is a major cause of the increasing spate of suicides in the country. The director of the hospital, Dr. Pinaman Apau, has therefore called for concerted efforts at improving the access to quality mental health care delivery at the hospital. She made the call on Wednesday at a short ceremony to unveil GH1 TV's Kafui Day as the Goodwill ambassador for the Accra Psychiatric Hospital.
The Accra Psychiatric Hospital has consistently been in the news since last year due to its constraints with finances and resources to smoothly run the facility. The situation became so bad that nurses had to use polythene bags as gloves. The lack of medication for hyperactive patients also led to several attacks on nurses at the facility. The dire situation resulted in several labor unrest at the hospital over the years, forcing management to almost shut down the health center. In a bid to address the many challenges bedeviling the hospital and change the face of the facility, the hospital's management has unveiled GH1 TV's Kafui Day as its Goodwill ambassador. Speaking at a short unveiling ceremony, the director of the hospital, Dr. Pinaman Apau, decried the neglect of mental health care and called for concerted efforts to resolve the numerous challenges the hospital and other psychiatric hospitals are facing.
It will interest you to note that 9,523 cases of mood disorders were recorded in 2016 at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital alone. This calls for a concerted effort in improving the quality and access to mental health care delivery in the country, and the Accra Psychiatric Hospital for that matter. It is in this light that I consider it heartwarming, the commitment from a treasured personality with well-known presence taking up the mantle of the Goodwill Ambassador for the hospital.
The new and first Goodwill Ambassador of the Accra Psychiatric Hospital, Kafuide, pledged to ensure a facelift of the facility by seeking for funds from organizations and individuals, as well as help in erasing the stigma attached to mental health in the country.
I'm glad to take this position to work for the Accra Psychiatric Hospital to promote goodwill, and by goodwill I'm talking about so many things. The feeling of understanding, so that in my duties we'll be able to increase the understanding that the general public and people who want to support will have about this facility, to learn a little bit more about mental health and how pervasive it is and what we can do in our small ways to get this facility running as it should be.
A project has also been launched to raise 500,000 Ghana cedis in aid of refurbishment and purchasing of laboratory equipment and other needed logistics. The maiden fundraising dinner will be held on 5th May 2017 at the Police Social and Fitness Center behind the police headquarters in Accra.
Well done to Kafuide.
Yeah.
And
Good
he
job.
better raise that 500,000 Ghana
yes.
cedis. We're giving him 2 months.
Yeah. Of course he can do it.
And he's got our support.
Of course.
Yes.
We will if we have to do apple for funds, we'll do it for him.
Oh, we will, definitely.
Sure,
we will definitely. And for the fundraiser, we need to buy tickets. We need to support the psychiatric hospital and Kafuide as well. Yeah. And the tickets, I understand, range between 200 Ghana cedis and 1,000 Ghana cedis.
Oh, we should be able to buy some. I mean, you and I.
Yeah, 250, 250.
Yeah. 500 for us.
500.
Oh, that's even small.
Then Timmy will take 1,000.
Yeah, for business.
For the business.
You know. Yeah, should be cool.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a break. We'll come back with our business and finance with Kweku Timmy. But before then, let's take a look at our stories making headlines tonight. Parliament has postponed the debate on the report of the bribery committee to Thursday, much to the disappointment of Ghanaians who had been waiting for the outcome.
Also, MDEX and other culpable state institutions sued for negligence, leading to the paralysis of the 28-year-old Patrick Yeboah.
Residents of Kleko and Agbozome hit the streets to protest the activities of Kensington Mine days after similar protests in Adina left one person dead.
Kweku will be bringing us business in just a moment. Agric Minister rules out a 500 million cedi investment to revamp the ailing sector.
And find out why Black Stars official Palmer disagrees with calls for a local coach to be appointed to handle the national team.
On the international front, Amnesty International calls for arrest of Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir.
Dreams can come true with Airtel. Recharge with 2 Ghana cedis and more and get instant prizes guaranteed. Keep scratching to win mobile devices daily. 10,000 cedis weekly, 25,000 cedis monthly, and the grand prize of 150,000 cedis. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Surgery demystified.
Fibroids are usually non-cancerous growths.
Now my name is Samuel Fibro. So I was rather giving them pressure to take me.
Descended testes means that the testes never descended down into the scrotum.
the most educative health show.
I'm an orthodox practitioner, and as far as we know, supported by research, there is no drug now currently in existence that will melt fibroid.
Informative and awareness of your health.
We bring the theater virtually into your home.
The OR Show.
What is your personal vision for the company?
We should be a very significant player in the industry, known as the real face of insurance.
I take my moments when they come. I'm trying to get into a more rounded business leader.
Can I be the president of Ghana? No, I can't. I don't have what it takes to be the president of Ghana.
Well, no, I think you do.
That's your opinion, Akwesi. Thanks for the compliment.
My name is Akwesi Safo Kantanka. Join me right here at Fiesta Residences Boutique Hotel and Apartments as I ask the tough questions.
Change managers with Akwesi, women to watch. A compelling conversation with women who are defining the future.
All right, you're welcome back. Business is next.
Yes, Kweku, good evening to you.
Good evening, Francis. How are you doing tonight?
I'm well. If you have issues with your teeth, you go to a dentist. If you have issues with your ear, who do you see?
Kweku.
ENT.
Well, we see the ENT specialist.
Yeah, ENT specialist, yeah.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah, you got it.
But I thought he was going to say eartist.
Oh, no, the ENT specialist.
Kweku, so you are buying a ticket for the Psychiatric Hospital's fundraiser.
That's right.
How much are you
You mentioned
spending?
it. We'll do 1,000, but to every corporate executive there, we want you to fill the tables. So you go beyond 1,000 and probably.
So tonight, the
2,000.
Psychiatric Hospital has 1,500 Ghana cedis from us. Kweku, 1,000, 250, 250.
Yeah. Why are you keeping it low, Nana?
Because
You've
we
not
are
encouraged
supporting
them.
other projects as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, and you are not at the moment. We know you pay school fees a lot for a lot of people, but
and paying
yes,
other things.
and other things. But tonight we want you to spend more because you're the businessman.
Absolutely.
You have a deeper purse.
And then, Kafui, this is to say congratulations, and we're solidly behind you. Well, colleagues, in just about a while, I'll fill you in on what is happening on the business front. The Agric sector is one area that is not supported so much. We get to talk about what the minister is thinking about doing. We have this and other interesting details coming up shortly, in business. All right, so our very first business story tonight, the Ministry of Agriculture is seeking to inject over 560 million cedis as it prepares to revamp the agric sector to ensure it contributes significantly to Ghana's GDP. The Agric Minister, Dr. Efri Akoto, who disclosed this, said government is targeting over 200,000 farmers who would be provided with some needed fertilizer subsidies to boost their outputs.
Ghana's agric sector in the last few years has seen continuous decline in its contribution to the GDP, dropping from 21.5% in 2014 to 19% in 2015. The annual growth of the agric sector declined from 4.6% in 2014 to 0.04% in 2015. The Minister of Agriculture, who was speaking at the GIMPA PEF Symposium on the 2017 budget statement and economic policy, said the government is committed to change such figures. He explained measures were being put in place to address concerns with post-harvest losses.
The only big challenge that I have, and I must confess, is the lack of marketing infrastructure in this country. Marketing infrastructure in terms of warehousing to store the grains, the expected increases that we're expecting, and access roads to many of these villages and districts that we are going to work with.
Addressing the concerns in the trade and manufacturing sector of the economy, the Minister of Trade and Industry, Alan Martin, said government was partnering with financial institutions to help provide some stimulus packages for ailing companies. He noted such efforts would drive government quest to provide employment opportunities in the private sector.
Each of these potential stimulus beneficiary companies will go through an extensive diagnostic exercise. So we have a number of technical experts consultants who would visit each of these beneficiary companies and undertake an extensive diagnostic study, which would then indicate to us the type of stimulus support that you require.
In other stories tonight, the Ghana Borderless Alliance is calling on West African leaders within the ECOWAS sub-region to remove the trade barriers that make it difficult to trade with neighboring countries. The World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index 2016 reports peg the highest documentary compliance time for exports at around 108 hours and for imports at 123 hours for sub-Saharan Africa, a record that makes the region the least favorable destination for trade facilitation.
Ghana is now ranked 108th by the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index for 2017 as one of the least favorable trade facilitation destinations in the world. Although the index puts Ghana ahead of some of its counterparts in West Africa like Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, Togo, Benin and Nigeria, it also shows a huge trade barrier that needs to be eliminated to optimize trade benefits in sub-Saharan Africa.
The African continent and its regional economic communities record less intra-regional trade than most regions of the world. One of the major factors behind this low level of trade integration is the low level of trade facilitation implementation.
The Deputy Minister Designate for Trade and Industry, Carlos Ahimfo, who spoke on behalf of the Trade Minister, Alan Martin, also cited the lack of will by some leaders in the West African region to implement the ECOWAS Trade Facilitation Agreement as one of the many challenges that has cast a dent on West Africa's trade facilitation records.
The understanding among member states is becoming increasingly difficult, but chief among these problems is the imposition of transit tax by some of these countries, which is hindering seriously the improvements that we are chalking in this direction.
The president of Ghana Borderless Alliance, Ziad Hamui, has also called on heads of state in West Africa to tap into opportunities in global trade to make their respective countries a favorable business destination for investors and their own citizens.
It is always difficult to bring cross-border stakeholders to understand, to realize that certain changes are required to streamline the procedure, because international trade sometimes crosses borders and involves several countries, not just one, especially for the landlocked countries.
The Ghana Borderless Alliance is therefore asking ECOWAS heads of state to implement the West Africa Trade Liberalization Scheme to allow for free flow of goods and transits without paying duties and reducing roadblocks, extortions and delays at checkpoints, among others, to boost the ease of doing business in West Africa.
So away from the maritime industry, let me now take you to the central bank, where head of the other financial institutions supervision of the Bank of Ghana, Joseph Amoewa, has told the Business Brief the decision to maintain a ban on the issuance of new licenses to microfinance applicants is yielding some level of results. Now, Joseph Amoewa said the move was aimed at consolidating the operations of those already doing business with the public while sanitizing the books of those showing signs of distress. The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Abdul Nashiru Isahaku, placed a freeze on the issuance of new licenses to microfinance companies as part of efforts to sanitize the industry, which was hit by a number of fraud cases last year. Head of the other financial institutions supervision at the central bank, Joseph Amoewa, tells the Business Brief officials of the central bank immediately instituted measures to ensure sanity in the sector.
We
put in new business rules to bring some orderly development of the sector. We have put in place prudential limits to make sure they are not overexposed. We are getting them to refocus on microfinance, provision of financial services to the economically active poor. All right, we put in corporate governance, so that things can be done more orderly within the institutions themselves. We put in risk management so they can pay attention to limits, processes, and so on and so forth. So we've done that.
He noted the move has yielded some positive results, assuring that the 2 million minimum capitalization for those in the microfinance sector would encourage measures.
2 million was necessary to, raise the capital high enough, to find a process of slowing down new applications. At the same time, based on the amount of deposits the licensed institutions have collected, we need to put in more solvency. Capital adequacy must be appreciably high, so that they will be able to, have liquidity and have a process of meeting depositors' withdrawals.
All right, so that was information from the central bank, but I would even stay there more as information I am getting this evening indicates that the central bank governor, that's our sources close to the central bank, they are informing us that Governor Issa Haku, that's the central bank governor, has resigned from his position. Well, we're getting feeds of this information and we'll be updating you as and when we get more information on it. But information I'm getting from the central bank indicates that Governor Issa Haku has had to resign from his post. It's still a developing story, so we'll be getting bits and pieces of it as and when we get more information on this particular development. Of course, you heard it right here on GHOne TV. We'll be filling you in with more details on this particular story as it keeps coming up. Governor Issa Haku has had to resign. That's sources close to us, GHOne at the central bank. We'll be updating you on this particular story as and when we'll get more information on it. Well, Dennis Bepore is all ready. Dennis, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. You have
good
some
evening.
sports updates.
Very good evening to you. And a very, very big story there. And I'm sure that many of you will be following that particular story. We'll be giving you more. And to talk about sports this evening, we'll be tracking down how many coaches have been shortlisted for the Black Stars job, that vacant position that, Avram Grant used to fill. And also, one person that you've been following at the AFCON 2017 who coached Cameroon is threatening to quit his job. Now, we'll get into all those details on Sports Brief.
Sports Brief is brought to you by Castlegate Real Estate Group.
Castlegate Estate Ghana Limited has evolved with new management and administration and positioned itself to serve you better. Seize this opportunity to do business with us by reserving a plot this year and start your own construction today. Castlegate Estate also has near complete or shell houses and serviced plots at prime locations on offer for sale at Katamanso, Tema Community 22 and 25 extensions, Dodoa and Prampram at very affordable prices. Our fully serviced plots come with electricity, pipe-borne water and road network. These plots are now selling fast. Just call our new management team and book appointment for free site visits. Castlegate Estate. We make home ownership easier.
It's now time for sports. All the details right here on GH1 News tonight. We begin with the Black Stars job because Vice Chairman of the Black Stars Management Committee, Wilfred Osekweku-Palmer, has slammed calls for a local coach to be appointed as the next coach of Ghana. Now, some Ghanaians, including ex-Black Stars player Mohamed Ahmed Polo and former president of the land, J. Kufuor, are in support of the return of Kwesi Appiah as Avram Grant's successor, amidst reports that they are front-runners. The front runners for the job or that vacant position happen to be Hugo Bros, the Cameroon coach, who's unhappy with his FA, that's the Cameroonian FA, and also Willie Sagnol, who we understand will be in town tomorrow for his interview on Friday. Wilfred Osekweku-Palmer tells GH1 Sports indigenous trainers have not prepared themselves well enough for the Black Stars position.
people who are sounding nationalistic are just saying that a Ghanaian should be appointed. Is that what we want? Agric just made an appointment. Are we saying there are no Ivorians? It's a Belgian who is handling Agric now. It should clearly tell you, Nigeria, they have a coach. South Africa are getting rid of their coach for an apparent reason. We've gone along these lines, and what did we gain out of that? They tend to refer to the fact that CK Jemfi and Osam Dodo, that won as the cup, are Ghanaians. And for that matter, any Ghanaian that will bring will give us the cup. I don't believe in that. Those people had prepared themselves to assume the position. The government invested in them, sent them to courses outside. CK went to Germany. Osam Dodo went to Brazil. It should clearly tell you that they had prepared themselves to assume that role. Do we have somebody cast in the mode of these two people? No. So why are we advocating for a Ghanaian coach?
Now we have a story on the legendary Ghanaian boxer Azumah Nelson. But before we go to that, this weekend's Ghana Premier League clash between the Aduana Stars and Wild Stars in Doma has been postponed to allow the latter, that's the champions of the GPL Wild Stars, to participate in the Wafu Club competition in Senegal, and they'll be playing against AS Tanda. Yeah, so we'll give you updates on that. And also the GFA has fined Oko United 1,000 Ghana cedis and given the club a deadline of April 7 to pay coach Safu Castro, their former trainer, his outstanding salaries totaling 45,000 Ghana cedis. And Great Olympics are also in the news. They've been fined 1,000 Ghana cedis and given a deadline of April 7 to pay Mediama SC 18,000 cedis. Yes, that's 180 million old cedis as outstanding fees for the transfer of Joseph Halm from Mediama SC. And now to boxing, because the legendary Azumah Nelson will hold the 3rd edition of his Azumah Nelson Fight Night series on Saturday at the Bukum Boxing Emporium here in Accra. The bill features national super featherweight champion Joshua Wahab Olusegun. He will be making his 4th defense of the belt against former champion Abraham Osei Bonsu, among other top fights on the night. Azumah Nelson says the bouts are aimed at preparing local boxers to become world champions.
I could do great and best, and everybody will know that this is from Azumah Nelson, the greatest boxer ever. Yes. Came to this continent. Yes. But we have a lot of talent boxers in this country, but we are lack of certain things, so we get together and put this thing together and make sure that we want to promote and bring great world champions in this country. So when you see us here, we say come to the boxing arena, Bukum Boxing Arena, on the 1st of April. Come and enjoy yourself, come and support us, and so that we can achieve our aim, so that Ghana will take its good crop to wear.
Legendary boxer Azumah Zumzum Nelson, the Hall of Fame of African boxing as well, will be there on Saturday to cover all the action and bring the reports to you on Monday morning. But to some international sports news now, where new CAF president Ahmad has thrown his weight behind Morocco to host the 2026 World Cup, and Cameroon's AFCON winning coach Hugo Broz has threatened to quit his job over funding problems in the national team setup.
CAF boss Ahmad believes Morocco can emulate the success story of South Africa by hosting the 2026 World Cup. Morocco has bid to host the finals on 4 previous occasions, but missed out on the 1994, 1998, 2006 and 2010 editions. The Madagascar FA boss's backing for Morocco comes only a few months after FIFA President Gianni Infantino declared that the North African country has the necessary infrastructure and organizational capacity to host the World Cup. Elsewhere in Cameroon, Indomitable Lions coach Hugo Broz has warned that he is seriously considering quitting the job if the Cameroon FA does not improve the poor conditions of players and the technical team. According to the Belgian trainer, his players could not have lunch prior to yesterday's friendly against Guinea because the FA failed to pay hotel bills on time and did not even travel with training kits since it was too expensive to put on the plane.
A trip around the international sports in France, and I can tell you that Cristiano Ronaldo has had the Madeira airport named after him. Tomorrow we'll bring you reports on that particular one, a whole report on that particular story on Newsroom at exactly 11:30 with Abino Sunyamiche, myself, and the whole team will be here. That's it for Sports Brief on News Tonight.
Sports Brief was brought to you by Castlegate Real Estate Group.
Thank you very much, Dennis Mepuri there with the sports. 18,000 cities, Accra Great Olympic. Why? I mean, the FA, and apart from that, the FA is authorizing a certain team to pay their coach. Oh, how long did Gerard News protest?
Why? Why are we always in this one? And I think for the transfer fee, they should have come to see you to pay much more. I mean, 18,000.
18,000 cities. Oh, that's no money for Accra Great Olympics will pay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not
but you can pay much more.
All right. Yeah. Let's take a break. We'll come back with international news. But before we go, just to also make the point or buttress the point Kwekutime made earlier that we are hearing from our sources that the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Nashiru Isahaku, has resigned as the Governor of the Bank of Ghana. And that's the news, and we'll be confirming that to you, of course, across the EIB network once we have confirmation. But that is what we're picking up. But the question is, who replaces him?
Who takes his job? Now, still from the grapevine, we are getting some names coming up. But top on that list is Ernest Addison Welerne. He's a lead economist for the African Development Bank that's headquartered in Johannesburg, South Africa. Now, if you look at his particular profile and the work and experience he brings to this table, that is if he's confirmed as the governor, he was the chief economist for the West African Monetary Institute from 2000 to 2003. Also, he was the director of research at the Bank of Ghana.
So he's not new to the Bank of Ghana.
Yes, Bank of Ghana from 2003 to 2011. Some 8 years in service in that regard. And then he's now at the African Development Bank. He took up that job in May 2011 up until today. So 5 years, 11 months at that job. He has a lot of experience when it comes to managing money and also being an economist. So that's what we know about the name that has popped up in the grapevine of who could possibly take up the job as Bank of Ghana governor.
All right, so let's take a break now. We'll come back with some news.
Enough! Abba! Plenty medical bills. I have tried different methods and it hasn't prevented sin. My son has been in the hospital twice this year because of malaria. I haven't had a good night's sleep in years. But now no more. Since I painted with Innesfly insecticide paint. Copy.
Innesfly insecticide paint kills mosquitoes dead for up to 2 years. It is a quality paint, a healthier option, and it's totally safe for humans and pets.
Take my word for it. Paint malaria out. Use Innesfly insecticide paint now.
Innesfly for a pest-free life. The weather is brought to you by Innesfly for a pest-free life.
Let's now check up the major headlines across the world today.
The Abidjan Assize Court yesterday acquitted First Lady of Côte d'Ivoire Simone Gbagbo after nearly 10 months of trial for crimes against humanity during the 2010-2011 post-election crisis. The majority jury declared Simone Gbagbo not guilty of the crimes charged, pronouncing her and acquitting her and ordering her immediate release if not being detained for any other causes. The Attorney General of the Abidjan Court, Alain Yeo, had asked for a life sentence for the former First Lady, seeing it as an act to seal national reconciliation after the bloody post-election crisis. Mrs. Gbagbo, whose last appearance in court was in November last year, was once again absent on Tuesday during the hearing, which she described as unfair. Amnesty International has said that Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir should be arrested by Jordan and handed over to the International Criminal Court, that's the ICC, in The Hague. Mr. Bashir, who is wanted by the ICC for genocide and war crimes committed in Darfur, is in Jordan for an Arab League summit. Somali President Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed Farmajo tweeted a photo showing him standing behind Mr. al-Bashir and the King of Bahrain. Previous calls for Mr. Bashir to be arrested have been met with inaction.
Democratic will of the British people, and it acts too on the clear and convincing position of this House.
After 9 months, the UK has delivered, declared EU Council President Donald Tusk in a tweet after receiving the letter triggering Britain's exit from the European Union. UK Prime Minister Theresa May has started the formal 2-year process of negotiations that will lead to Britain leaving the EU after more than 40 years in a process popularly known as Brexit. The letter was hand-delivered to European Council President Donald Tusk in Brussels by British Ambassador to the EU Tim Barrow on Wednesday. Copies are to be sent to the other 27 EU member states. In a speech to Parliament to coincide with the letter's delivery, May urged the country to come together as it embarks on a momentous journey.
And that'll be it for international news. We've got GHOne coming up now. Afro-pop, dancehall and reggae artist Stonebwoy, best known for his hits Go Higher and Mighty Lily, recently visited Jamaica for the first time. We spoke to the artist about his experience, which career he would have followed if music hadn't been an option, and what is his favourite all-time song. So you've just come back from Jamaica recently. How was that for you?
Great, like nice experience. Like it was my first time officially. You know what I mean? Unofficially, we've been there and back with the music, with the videos and stuff. So yeah, everything is similar. Trust me, man. The similarities are more than the comparisons to get the difference. The similarities are 90 over 100 to me. Like one of the things that I realized was the housing scheme and the system, but aside that, regular vibes.
If you could have had any other career outside of music, what would it have been?
Oh, this is a deep one. I'll be an officer, like an officer at the highest rank in the military.
So would you have ever wanted to have gone into the army?
Yeah, that was my dream. Like if I ever slept to dream about what I wanted to do in the future, was to be an officer in the army. When I saw anybody in a uniform, I was like, I want to be like this. That's what I dreamt of, like as a kid, like as a child growing up.
What's your all-time favorite song?
Ooh, all-time favorite song. All-time favorite song. If I do sing one now, then it's one of them. From book back, it just came to my one of them, like Bronier, I crazy oh Bronier. Over Africa, Veshem, we can't tell no one now. Over Africa, be from into man, Anna. And then they have a raga side to it. I don't really know the lyrics now, but you get da 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 da. You know, like from them day there.
Yeah, I know that.
Book back any day. And big up one from Samini as well. Jaishi. Then you know what I mean? Them one day. Long time things, you know?
For today's entertainment tidbits, did you know that former President Obama gets to watch advanced episodes of Game of Thrones before the rest of the world?
and the costumes are aged for 2 weeks to perfect their gritty look. To all music lovers, the chills you get when you listen to music is called musical frisson. If you have trouble sleeping, the longest movie made lasts 85 hours and is fittingly titled The Cure for Insomnia. We guess the designer was hungry when he designed Pac-Man because it's in fact modeled after a pizza pie with one slice removed. Interestingly, Walt Disney World is the second largest purchaser of explosives in the United States after the Department of Defense. Did you know?
Did you know that?
Which one?
That Disney is the second biggest client for explosives in America.
Oh, well, that's not strange. That's not strange, but I am so waiting for Game of Thrones. Yeah. Oh, I'm so waiting for it. I'm so jealous. President Barr, but he's a big fan of Game of Thrones, by the way. He's a big fan.
Presidential gets all the good.
Game of Thrones, I just can't wait. Anyway, that'll be it for the news. Will come your way tomorrow morning at 11:30 with the newsroom. My name is Nana Banamwa.
I'm Francis Allen. Thanks for your company. Good evening.
Hello there, and you're most welcome to television's best experience.
Welcome to your life. There's no turning back.
This is beautiful.
Even while we sleep.
I really want you to come go with me on this exciting journey.
Say how they come, that far. When they say how they go, that far. When they see me out of town, that far. When they see me for my food,
It's fun, it's insightful, it's exclusive. This is Revealed. My name is Bola Ray, and this is my show.
Revealed with Bola Ray, proudly brought to you by Bel Air Rare Luxe. Premieres Sunday 9th April at 7:30 p.m. on GHOne TV.
Surgery demystified.
Fibroids are usually non-cancerous growths.
Now my name is Samuel Fibro.
So I was rather giving them pressure to take me.
Descended testes means that the testes never descended down into the scrotum.
The most educative health show.
I'm an orthodox practitioner, and as far as we know, supported by research, there is no drug now currently in existence that will melt fibroid.
Informative and awareness of your health.
We bring the theater virtually into your home.
The OR Show. Two guests, one host, forming a panel of 3 lawyers. Each week, discussing relevant legal topics.
As soon as the court grants the adoption order, that child is no longer the child of the natural parent.
There isn't a single text in our law books which would come close to forcing a kid in his mature age to take care of his parents.
The gossips. Yeah. You've heard it's baseless. You move on from house to house discussing it. They can sue you for defamation.
If you go to office and you don't work, when is the end of the month? Feel shy. Don't go to the bank, please.
Some people actually sign prenups at the wedding ceremony. Actually, they sign it first and then they sign the certificate. What is this?
Law Express. Be empowered.
Dream big. Believe. Self-love. Inspiring. Empowering.
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 Empowering. These are the words used to influence the lives of young girls and women all across the world. As women, we all have stories that can change the lives of others. Sometimes we just need that one platform to share it. Sincerely V bridges the gap between generations as I engage women from different walks of life whose stories will undoubtedly inspire you in one way or another. Join me, Vanessa Jan, on Sincerely V, this and every Saturday at 11 a.m. only on GHOne TV. Sincerely V, real women, real voices.
Away, away from the noise.
Wake up to the sweet sound of worship as the servant of God ushers us into his throne of grace.
Don't stay focused on what happened yesterday. God is saying something better is coming.
For when challenges strike, the Lord is our refuge. Therefore, let's start our day by seeking him first and committing our all into his hands.
When we carry around bitterness, unforgiveness, guilty, angry at our neighbor, you may not realize it, but that's stinking up your life.
Join Joel Austin 5 to 5:30 a.m. from Monday to Friday and let the word put a bounce in your step.
I'll never be the same. Never, never, never. I'll never be the same. In Jesus' name. God bless you.
That was great.
It's 6 a.m. coming to you live from the Platinum Heights.
Welcome to your award-winning GH Today.
Join your TV royals every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. as they take you through the world of politics.
Today, when you cook rice in my unless you add the sakabo to it, I won't eat.
You are ready for the sakabo?
Yeah, the sakabo.
Well, look at the billboards all around. Quantify them, cost them, and you reach a point where you see money swine.
Lifestyle.
Hearts are beautiful and classic on gentlemen.
Sports.
He's 1-on-2. It is GHOne. He's in the area. He scores!
The World Cup is a big stage. Why would he not talk about the AFCON 27? No. You see, people cannot take Ghanaians for a ride.
News Extra.
My name is AJ Sapon, and it is time to bring you NS.
Entertainment. GH Today.
That's our show.
It is often said that women don't like sports. Well, there is some truth to that. But it doesn't stop women from cheering and jeering when players are on the field. My name is Nana Banamwa, and I bring you cheers with a bevy of articulate, beautiful, intelligent, and very entertaining ladies. We'll be talking through all the sports, from the most beautiful goal to the best player and the worst player. It is all on Cheers on this channel every Saturday morning.
Cheers is brought to you by Style Up by Gandor Cosmetics, Lifestyle Gallery, and Fifi Beauty Center.
Cheers, showing this and every Saturday at 9 a.m. only on GHOne TV.
State of affairs with me, Nana Abba Anamwa. All right, so we were all expecting the report from the Jogate Committee on the bribery scandal that rocked Parliament a few weeks ago, but we have to wait for another day because the chairman of the committee says it will be made available to MPs tomorrow. So we'll wait. But of course, in the studio with me tonight is the Honorable Member of Parliament for Tamale North, Al-Hassan Suhini Alhaji Al-Hassan Suhini. Can you believe that the last time the Tamale Central MP was in, I kept referring to him as you? Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
Okay, so joining us also tonight is the Honourable Member of Parliament for Sekondi, Andrew Ejapa Mesa. You're welcome. Can't remember your nickname. You had a nickname the last time. Somebody dropped
Bobo.
Bobo.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. It's good to have both of you in the studio. All right, so have you picked up anything, Suhini? You're in the committee, the appointments committee. Have you picked up anything at all?
Well, thank you very much, Nanaba. It's always a pleasure to be on your show. Let me say good evening to our viewers. I was expecting that you would share some.
I don't have
tips with
anything.
me because maybe in
I was
my
hoping
past,
the two of you would be privy to some information.
In my past profession, I would have been able to intercept.
Yeah.
But now that I am part of the system, in this case Parliament, I think that
So now
I've been
your loyalty
concentrating
has
too much.
changed.
No, I've been concentrating too much on the parliamentary duties that I'm assigned, that
right.
I've not really looked around to see if
Okay.
I could intercept.
I was hoping you
So
would
I don't.
drop something
I just
in.
heard. In fact, my colleagues in the media called me to find out when they heard that there was a report, and that's when I started looking. But I
You
noticed
couldn't
it wasn't
find
ready.
any. Yeah. We tried very hard. We couldn't find anything. Honourable, did you get any filler?
Well, I did not, unfortunately, because
If you did, would you have told me?
Oh, of course. It's ultimately going to be public knowledge anyway.
Anyway.
A day of only me knowing wouldn't make any difference, really. But we were also expecting that the papers were going to be made available. But I was not surprised because typically when papers are laid on the floor of Parliament, the table office would then have to go and make copies for distribution to all members of Parliament for their study before the actual debate takes place. So we are all expectant that we'll get it tomorrow morning. Take a quick read at the key recommendations and find, because I hear it's a bulky document.
50-page document.
50 is not too
50
bulky.
is not too bulky.
Yeah, of course.
You
So,
can finish that in 10
of
minutes.
course. I mean, if you read Inri Akoto, then a 50-page report
Yeah.
would not suffice to be bulky. So we are all expectant that tomorrow the report would be made available, and then we would see what the outcome of the investigation is for the benefit of all of us.
All right, so we are all waiting for tomorrow. We are looking forward to tomorrow when this document is made public. Of course, the MPs will get it first. They will peruse the document, and then the debate on the report will start. I just want to know where the truth is. Who lied and who told the truth?
Don't we know that already?
Do we?
That's just right.
Anyway, but there's something actually very serious that I wanted to discuss with you, because if you look at a lot of WhatsApp groups on social media, that's what everybody's talking about, Galamsey. And it's been with us for a very long time. I remember when President Mahama was in office, he set up a committee, a task force actually, to look at illegal mining. We didn't see too much progress. The minister responsible for the sector now, a couple of days ago, was begging the Chinese to stop. I'm not too sure if we had to beg when he has the coercive powers to stop the practice, but we'll look at that as well. But Honourable Suhini, Galamsey, it's probably not such a big problem in your constituency, but as a journalist, you have come close to the effect, the impact it has had on water bodies and others.
Yeah, I think Galamsey, it's become a major threat to our survival because of the direct threat that it has to our water bodies and the predictions, by the Water Company Limited that if we are not careful, by 2030 we may begin importing potable water for consumption in this country because of the effects of Galamsey. And I think the CSIR, also one of its units in charge of water, has done a research to show that we may have water in this country by 2030, but we will not have treatable water. And that is why it is important that we take steps to address the challenge. But I think that before we can succeed in addressing the challenge of Galamsey, we need to be very real with ourselves and tell ourselves the hard truths. You remember the former president, John Dramani Mahama, when he tried to make this you know, a concern for everybody. Like we usually do, we clothe our problems in political colors when we don't want to resolve them. The former president went to, I think, Chebi, and was alarmed at, you know, what he saw when he was in the helicopter. And in addressing the people there, he sought to advise them to, you know, stop the practice. And coupled with his attempts with the task force that he formed, he told them of how the task force was going to clamp down on people who did not, you know, listen to the advice. But along the line, he might have said that flying over Chebi, the whole place in the eastern region seemed like the headquarters of Galamsey. And what happened?
It didn't go down well.
I mean, it was that phrase was considered worse than the Galamsey Act. And so media practitioners positioned that phrase.
Of which you were one at the time.
Yes, I was at the time. Positioned that phrase. And that phrase became more important than the threat, the real threat of Galamsey. And the former president got bashed. It was as if he had insulted the people of the eastern region. And in the end, here we are. Galamsey is still with us. And I'm not sure that the threat is as close to the former president as it is close to the ordinary people in this country. So I find it very hard that we lost that opportunity to support that, you know, drive that he started, that campaign that he started on the basis of political, you know, expediency or whatever you may want to describe it at the time. Then again, we know the people who are involved in these things. We know the politicians who are involved. Some of them are our executives. We know the policemen who are involved. Some of them are commanders. Others are just officers. We know the chiefs who are involved in our communities. Even if not directly, they give out the lands and then they take the land cruises. We know the people who are doing these things. We know the men and women who are in the civil service, be it at the Minerals Commission or other, you know, agencies that are also responsible to protect our environment, even as we mine these minerals, who are conniving and colluding with the people who are degrading our environment and causing all these problems just in the name of mining gold. We know them. Some of us sit in offices with them. Some of them are our bosses. Others are our colleagues. So it does not require, you know, rocket science for us to deal with it if we have a national commitment, especially faced with the reality that this practice, if unchecked, can lead to a situation where we will not have potable water for our generations and generations yet to come.
Okay.
I think that maybe this is another opportunity. I'm not too happy yet with the minister's approach, especially when he sounded like he did not know the position that he is occupying as minister in begging the Chinese. Yes, one can say in diplomatic language, but beg, no. The Chinese, remember again, when the president set up the task force and arrested a number of Chinese people, made sure they were deported. You remember the political bashing that the president got again, as if to say the Chinese were here to do business. And it was shocking to me that some Ghanaians actually elected to defend the so-called rights of the Chinese and were unmindful of the effects of their operations in these communities. I think we can do better as a people And we should at all times support causes that our leaders undertake, whether those leaders belong to our political parties or not. Especially when we know that the end is for our own survival.
Honorable Mesa.
Thank you very much. I mean, to be very candid with you, I don't think that we should make this a political issue, because our entire survival as a people is at stake. But if my friend on the other side goes to say that His Excellency the former president tried to make Galamsey a concern and he was bashed, and so as a result of that he reneged.
No,
then
he didn't say
of course,
he reneged.
I'm paraphrasing essentially. I'm not quoting you. But if he failed as an executive president who had all the force of the state behind him to enforce our laws, then clearly he failed woefully. Because, like you said, we know the chiefs who are involved, we know all the politicians who are involved, we know all the civil servants who are involved. So what stopped the president from enforcing the laws? What stopped him? If people, because of the statement or the attribution of Chebi or the description of Chebi as the headquarters of Galamsey, which in the context of the political regime at the time, people felt that he was associating the president, sitting president, to Chebi because he's from there, to say that the people of Chebi were involved in Galamsey and that they had turned their community into the headquarters of Galamsey and received some bashing. He should have seen it in the light of the politics that we were practicing, but gone ahead with the power that he had to ensure that the menace was eliminated, or if not eliminated, reduced significantly. But look, let's be frank, Galamsey didn't happen or didn't start during the tenure of His Excellency the former president John Mahama, but the scale and extent with which it took during his era was unprecedented.
How?
Of course, when did the Chinese invasion of the Galamsey of Ghana as a Galamsey destination? It's only the past couple of years. But what happened? The attempt to arrest and deport a few Chinese did not stop the Galamsey menace, to the extent that we are almost facing an extinction as a people. Because if all our water bodies get destroyed, which all the indication points to, what is going to happen to us as a people?
So we should be begging them.
I think we should be more militant in our approach in enforcing the law than we've done in the past. Was the begging militant? Well, the begging approach? Well, like he said, probably diplomatic, because I don't think that a recourse to the Chinese embassy was the best way to handle it. But beyond that, there have been some interministerial committee that has been established.
He's actually issued a 3-week ultimatum today to illegal miners to stop.
Beyond the so-called begging that he went to beg the Chinese ambassador. But of course, I saw that as a moral suasion. That look, persuade your people to leave our borders and go before we deploy the full force of our law to come after them. I think that it's about time that we deploy all the force of state that we can muster to ensure that this thing is brought within control as early as possible. Otherwise, the consequences that we all face is not pleasant at all.
Okay, you want to react to that?
Yes, you see, my brother started by saying that he did not want this to be discussed within the political context, but he ended up doing exactly that. But that is what I tried to stay away from, and to remind us with examples of how in the past such discussions did not help the cause of fighting this menace. It was not to say that because such discussions didn't help the cause, it meant that the president stopped the fight. The president never did. He didn't stop the fight, and there's record to show, contrary to my brother's assertion, that it was in his tenure that we had more, illegal mining or Galamsey practices. In fact, the chairman, and I'll give him just that example, and not because it is political, but the Ashanti regional chairman of the NPP, Wontumi, is on record and if you check online, you will find it, to have said that he has lost so much money as a result of government's fight against these things.
You see, he's lost money because of government's fight.
He is supposed to explain to us how he lost that money. But that story is there.
We all read that story. What he said was that he has a concession. Of course, we have to clearly distinguish between small-scale miners who are licensed to undertake mining activities and illegal miners.
I'm just giving you an example that the president,
if we don't do that,
never stopped his fight. In fact, some analysts even said that around 2013, 2014, when we had crisis with our city, and the president was not given room. Yes, he was elected to fix the problems and he promised to fix it, but some analysts actually attributed the city fall around that time to the fight against the Galamsey menace. But it never deterred the president. He was committed to ensuring that we increase our exports against imports because he thought that was the only way that we could make our city stable. And thanks be to God, in the 2017 budget statement read by the NPP, an admission is right there that in 2016, Ghana's exports exceeded its imports. So he had...
That is not the first time that incident had occurred in the history.
Why are you jittering?
I mean, to make it seem as if it's some unprecedented record.
Yes, but for a very long time we never had that. For a very long time we never had that.
Who were the managers of the company?
You see, don't let us get political. Don't get too political over this discussion. Let's stay focused on the issue of Galamsey, and then urge our citizens, especially those who are engaged in it, or those who are not engaged in it, but are also willing, like you and I, to support the cause, to do so. Even if you have to tweet or write about it on Facebook, or just even expose somebody as conniving with others. Let us encourage people. And remember, when I was concluding, I said that because let us not look at what happened to President Mahama and say that when our leaders begin causes, we will not support those causes. Let us support them. I think it is a good call. The minister's call that illegal mining must stop in about 3 weeks is a good call. Let us ensure that he matches his words with action. And let us also ensure that whatever we can do in our own small way to ensure that this succeeds, we do it.
If I can have your assurance that you consistently support this position.
Why not? Isn't he in the end? That's what every
person. He is the same person who quickly added that the minister had gone to beg.
No, you see,
but he did
those
beg.
are two different scenarios.
That's a fact.
The begging, I disagree with. He didn't have to beg. He has come back well. These were two different places. The first time when he begged was in his office when the Chinese delegation called upon him. I think after the bashing, he's now come out to give a 3 weeks ultimatum, which I support. And I'm saying, and I agree with you when you say that he should exercise some muscle. We have what we call, not the gambut diplomacy, but in diplomacy, you also need sometimes to be strong and to be firm with your positions. I didn't see that when the minister met with the Chinese delegation.
Look,
I am saying that his recent call on those involved to stop that practice in 3 weeks is something that we should all support, and we should encourage him to match those words with action. And
I agree with you entirely. And
as a people,
course,
wherever and whatever we can also do,
that
let's
this
do it.
process of fighting the Galamsey menace did not begin with the so-called begging of the Chinese ambassador. It started earlier. The minister has made statements. He's indicated that an interministerial committee has been formed to look at how this Galamsey issue is going to be stopped. Yet, what everybody seemed to be dwelling on prior to his call today in the graphic was the so-called begging. But we all need to put
because
some
it's
of these statements
outraged.
in
It's
context.
outraged a lot of people, especially when, for instance,
when you put it in proper context, it won't seem as bad as people are making it seem. Because
which one
if
is the
I'm
proper
having a
context?
conversation with you now, and I tell you, Sumini, I beg you, get your people in order.
No, but you see the look on your face.
To beg?
The look on your face is different.
You know, it won't.
From the look on the minister's face when he was begging. But I'm saying that people will be outraged because they've seen the effects of Galamsey on the operation. Just last week, a group of cocoa farmers in the Ashanti region were threatening to burn up their cocoa farms because they seem Galamsey is more profitable, and Galamsey operations were having an effect on their yield.
That takes us to another leg of the discussion. You know, for the fight to succeed, let us not pretend that the people who are engaged in it are unaware of the effects.
Of course.
They know the effects, but they also know the benefits. And perhaps the benefits to them are more alluring than the effects. And so we have to address that question of survival at the local level if we are going to win the fight. Alternative means of survival. You cannot just go with the military and the police armed to their teeth, seizing, equipment and closing the pits without alternative, livelihood plans and projects for the people. Because that is how come we have seen in cases where the mining is even done at odd hours. And the people who sometimes are even asked to go and protect, prevent it from happening, end up protecting those who are doing it to do it, because in the end, they also get the benefits. If you fly over our communities that are hardly hit by these things,
like what you're seeing on the screen right now.
It's terrible. It's like sauce on a body. It's like sauce. Just consider
completely unacceptable.
Just consider Ghana, the land of Ghana, as your skin. It's like sauce on the body, and it's that bad.
Completely unacceptable. Nobody should condone this thing from continuing. And it doesn't cease to amaze me.
That's a rubber plantation.
How on earth we say that there's unemployment. We all know there's unemployment. Yet, the people who are to enforce our laws are just not there.
Or they're not working.
Or they are not working.
They are there.
I understand that the EPA in the Eastern region, I heard Baba Jamal on Joy FM this morning, that EPA in the Eastern region has only about 5 officers also. How can 5 officers patrol the whole of Eastern region? Yet, we have people who have the qualification, who can be engaged to do the same job, yet we are not recruiting them. And others are going around helter-skelter, destroying our water bodies and our forests and our entire livelihood. We cannot allow this thing to happen. So I'm happy that this Galamsey issue has come to the front burner, and I implore the media houses especially to keep it there. Let's just not relegate it to the background as with all other stories in our part of the world, where after 2-3 days, when a new issue comes up, then everything is
a competition.
Well, it's a competition, but this affects all of us.
Yeah.
And so we need to keep it on the front burner and step on the pedal so hard, hold the government accountable. This is not President Mahama's era. This is President Akufo-Addo's era. And I am a member of the party. I wish that we resolve this problem, and I would call on everybody to hold the minister accountable. After all, we asked for the mandate, and it is our duty to ensure that the right things are done.
Okay. Do you have any final words on that before I take a break?
Not really. I just want to say that it is a fight that we can win if we all dedicate ourselves to it. But also, we need to be mindful, especially the government, need to be mindful of the reasons why people are doing this. It may be greed, but it may also be survival issues. So those, daily bread issues in these communities.
So, for instance, if you say stop it in 3 weeks, what will they be doing after 3 weeks?
What will they be doing after 3 weeks? Because if they stop it and you don't find alternative means of livelihood, they will go back to it. They will go back to it. And you cannot have constant patrol you know, in these areas. It's not going to be.
But then again, I mean,
financially
to the point of the alternative livelihood that you mentioned, if some of these young men are recruited to police the communities, knowing very well that at the end of the month their incomes are assured, I'm sure that it will go a long way to help in
and the question anyone will ask is, how much income would it be the same as what they're earning?
Strangely,
when
the young boys on the field are not the people who are making the money, according to Baba Jamal this morning. And of course, he's from a mining community.
Those who are making the money are in Accra,
absolutely,
and in the big cities.
You know, so we need to get to them and also get these young boys who are being paid a pittance to understand what it is that this thing is going to do to their own futures.
Assuming that there is a political will to deal with this menace, because we don't want a situation where once you want to, this is a very beautiful shot, by the way, but of course on the sides you see the destruction. This
Look
is
at the beautiful road that we constructed.
Suhini,
mischief in chief.
So for instance, you're going to deal with Galamsey in Isiakwa or Chebi or the other communities we have seen this evening, and you're being told that we voted for you. So if you're going to do this to us in 4 years, we're going to kick you out. It's happened before in the past. Hawkes, for instance.
Even with Galamsey, we have heard of stories where in the last election, in fact, I've heard of a story in, I think, the Eastern region also, in a forest, where it was reported, I think Anazamria and others did some work there, that some NDC people were, so-called NDC people were there, you know, mining and all of that. Another political party leadership assured their people that when they come, they will take over the place. And that has happened. Now, they have gone to chase the so-called NDC people out, and they are also there mining.
It's unfortunate our politics has degenerated to that level. But I think that we all have a stake in the enterprise called Ghana. It's pathetic every time I'm driving to Sekondi and I see the Pra River, because I drive on it almost every weekend. It's pathetic, but we all have a stake in the enterprise called Ghana. We either think about the outcome of the next election or think about the next generation. And I would prefer for us all to think about the next generation than the next election, because if we all seem to be doing the right things, the majority of the Ghanaian voter would see through and take an informed decision at the poll. We don't have to always do things because we want to win the next election. I, frankly, have a different view to politics. But of course, I'm alone. I hope that I can get other people with the same mindset to drive this enterprise forward.
Our water bodies look terrible. This is the river tunnel.
It's sickening.
It is. It's absolutely sickening.
How do you convince a child that learns in school that water is blue?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you show
when he sees practically that it's brown.
Yeah. That's what we are doing.
It's
terrible. It's sad.
So I'll call on of course, I'm happy that he's thrown his weight behind the minister's call.
I've always been an advocate. I mean,
address this thing.
I recall around that time, and I think it may still be on my Facebook handle, when the debate was about whether Chebi is the headquarters, I constantly said that we were missing the point, and that wasn't essential. What was essential was the threat of Galamsey to our lives. Let's discuss that and forget about these things that, you know, either increase or decrease our votes.
Yes.
Election is not always about how many ballots are counted in your favor. It's about how many lives you are able to touch. That should be more important.
That's a soul one on my side right there.
Quote of the night. It's not about the ballots, but it's the lives that are touched. Let's take a break. We'll come back shortly.
I am a legend. He is a legend. And he is a legend. And he is a legend.
I am a legend.
We are legends.
In the midst of legends, I am the host. My understanding of the game is better enhanced as we speak football on GHOne television. Catch us every Friday for 90 minutes of fun-filled discussions right here on this network.
Football Legends Night. Coming soon on GHOne television.
A hero of change is the one who lends a helping hand.
The one who gives a second chance at life.
The one who teaches many to be independent and self-sufficient.
The one who provides a better education for the community
and gives many hope for the future.
The one who puts a smile on many faces.
That's a hero of change.
That's a hero of change.
That's a hero of change.
Join us as we bring you stories of Ghanaians making a positive change in our society by impacting the lives of others in the MTN Heroes of Change Season 3. Sunday at 7 p.m. on GH1. MTN Heroes of Change.
You been learning about this?
Debris? I've seen it somewhere.
That's the best feeling ever.
Wow, he's super awesome.
Hi, this is Becca and you are watching Live TV. It's Bob.
Yeah. The juiciest entertainment queen Vanessa Jan.
J means 1, Foley means 2. My name's Antoine Metz. I'm here with DJ Master J. Daily dose of them. Favorite stations right now, Live TV. Mothers, Live TV. Keep on your tool, what?
A hero of change is the one who lends a helping hand.
The one who gives a second chance at life.
The one who teaches many to be independent and self-sufficient.
The one who provides a better education for the community
and gives many hope for the future.
The one who puts a smile on many faces.
That's a hero of change.
That's a hero of change.
That's a hero of change.
Join us as we bring you stories of Ghanaians making a positive change in our society by impacting the lives of others in the MTN Heroes of Change Season 3. Sunday at 7 p.m. on GH1. MTN Heroes of Change.
I am a legend. He is a legend. And he is a legend. And he is a legend.
I am a legend.
We are legends.
In the midst of legends, I am the host. My understanding of the game is better enhanced as we speak football on GH1 television. Catch us every Friday for 90 minutes of fun-filled discussions right here on this network.
Football Legends Night. Coming soon on GH1 television.
Yeah, welcome back to State of Affairs. Tonight we are discussing the menace called galamsey, in fact illegal mining, because some of these galamseyers say that their operations are legal. So you need to be very clear in your definition. And in the studio with me are the honourable members of Parliament for 2nd D and Tamale North constituencies. The Honourable Andrew Ejapa Mesa, aka Bobo, and also the Honourable Alhaji Alhassan Suhini. All right, so we're talking about galamsey just before we took a break, but I have to give credit to Edem Srem. He's a freelance journalist who got those drone shots for us this evening. Very beautiful shots. So Edem Srem, well done, and thank you so much for those beautiful Very beautiful shots, but of course it exposes the destruction of Galamsey.
The beautiful exposure of the bad.
Yes, beautiful exposure of the bad. Yes. So in 3 weeks, the question I've seen a lot of people ask is, so if it doesn't stop in 3 weeks, then what happens? Of course, we've got laws, and another thing that always comes out that we have all of these beautiful laws, but we never implement these laws, or we hardly enforcement of these laws.
That's the only way. I mean, impartial enforcement of the law is the way to go. I mean, look, Suhini was saying earlier before we went on the break that the consequences we all know. Unemployment is what drives some of these youth. But unemployment is everywhere. I have unemployment in my constituency, you know, and we cannot say that because there's unemployment, we should condone an illegality that is not merely, you know, polluting our waters, but destroying our entire ecosystem, if you like. We cannot tolerate it. So we have to be forceful in our enforcement of the law and ensure that we rate particularly those who do so close to our water bodies and in the water bodies to ensure that we eliminate them completely. There should be no middle ground in this matter at all. And I am hopeful that the bipartisan approach with which, or the sentiments that are being expressed at this point, will be carried through so that nobody is seen to be taking political capital out of the situation. And we move together as a people to ensure that Galamsey is eliminated completely.
I mean, 3 weeks for them to stop.
I think it's impossible. I think it's a call in the right direction, but I don't see Galamsey stopping in 3 weeks. It has to be backed by some action. I don't know if a task force is already in place to ensure that if in 3 weeks, which I'm sure will be the case, we still have cases of Galamsey, you know, the task force moves in. I don't know the mechanism that the minister has in place, but I doubt if in 3 weeks anybody is going to, you know, respect that order.
I think that we should see it more as a call to action. And look, stop these activities, or in 3 weeks we are coming forcefully after you.
Right. And again, the question will be, after 3 weeks, when you begin the clampdown, for how long? I mean, is it going to be?
It has to be sustained,
or will it just be a 9-day wonder, a flash in the pan, and then they are back to the land and the forest, destroying everything? This afternoon, we vetted one of the, you know, deputy
ministers for the sector. He said it was murder.
Yeah, in fact, I think it was Attorney General. He's going to Attorney General. Yes, Joseph Pemka. And he is of the view that it's mass murder and must be banned.
Yeah.
You know, and I tend to share the same sentiments, you know, that some of these minerals that we mine, we have to get to a point where we assess the benefits to us as a country against the, you know, effects, and take a decision whether we will want to continue mining them or want to leave them buried in the soil. I mean, they don't decay. They can be there until we have better ways of mining it. Even if it is not for us, our generations will determine that. But I am tempted to go with the sentiments that we should ban the whole, you know, whether small scale or large scale mining. Yes, we have already gone into some contracts with large scale mining. That may be difficult as a country for us to.
Of course, some small scale miners as well, because they have mining concessions.
Yes, but I think that we have to reach a point where, especially our traditional authorities, I think that, look, if our traditional authorities begin to be involved, you know, and not pretend to be involved in fighting these menace, I think they will make a lot of progress, even better than I think some of our politicians.
Absolutely.
Because you see, look at what happened recently in the Ashanti region when the Asante Hima was being buried. The police didn't announce a curfew. The police didn't announce a curfew. But that's how much we respect our traditional authorities. You go to your community, And when the chief says that on Wednesdays no one goes to the farm, you don't need a police to enforce that. But you come to our democratic administration, and when the policeman says you can't ride a motorbike without a helmet in that same community, you will see the number of people who will flagrantly, disregard that. But when the chief says you don't perform a funeral on a Tuesday, no family will dare do it. So if we integrate them into some of these courses, and they are actively involved, and they consult the gods and the shrines.
But they're the one giving out the loans.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If they are involved and they are not pretending to be involved. Because you see, if you come and tell me that we cannot, mine on this land, and then I later on find out that your new Land Cruiser is given to you because of someone who is mining, close to where you said we shouldn't mine, and you had a hand in the approval, or your linguist went to do the negotiation on your behalf, how am I going to take you serious? So I think that it's a collective fight, and we must all be involved. Like I said, even young people who are active on social media can begin the campaign like they have started. And, the media, I must commend them. I've noticed in the last 4 or 5 days, a number of stations have focused on this menace, and it is good. I think that moving forward, we need to begin to see more heavyweights, lending support to that fight, because it is our survival that is at stake here. Water is life. Absolutely. You cannot live beyond 3 days without water. And we already are faced with crisis, water crisis, even as we sit today. Can you imagine what the situation will be moving forward? In fact, in the Tamale area as we speak, they are in critical water crisis. I have communities in my constituency. The last time I was in Tamale and I went to, thank them for electing me. I went to Puntalaga, I went to Kula, Burma, Taha. In fact, Taha, the chief, like all the other chiefs, said, Honorable, we have a yearly sickness, and we are happy you have come because it has hit. And I was alarmed, waiting to hear what sickness it was, until he said it was this, and it is not because we don't have water bodies around, but it's just how we manage these water bodies. And I think that if we already have water crisis now, and we are told that it can get worse in the future, then we will only be acting like the fool who sits on a branch and cuts it if we don't do anything about it.
Yes, Honorable Messi.
I agree with you entirely on this one. It has to be a concerted effort, all hands on deck. If we are to win this fight, it cannot be business as usual. We have to go hit hard and make sure that those who willingly cooperate with government to ensure that this menace is reduced, work with them. Those who will not, we shape them in line, enforce the law, and we will make progress. It's a fight that, like Suhini said, we can win, and we should deploy all our resources in that regard. And I'm sure that in the next year or two, we'll be having a conversation and seeing different scenes of the Pra and Cobra that we saw earlier, as the blue rivers that we had.
Not brown rivers.
Not brown rivers. No.
And in a lot of these communities, that is what residents rely on.
As drinking water, source of drinking water. And look at the cost to even the Ghana Water Company Limited. They have been complaining about how much more chemicals they have to add, in the treatment of water for us. And even the quantity of chemicals in the water,
it's injurious.
It's injurious to us. So either way, we lose unless we set up.
Okay. And now, before we go, I've got just about 5 minutes to wrap up. All right, so we are looking for a coach for Ghana. Of course, there are some who think that it's a Herculean task to qualify for Russia 2018. Local or foreign coach?
Local.
Local. Kwesi?
Possibly. I mean, I don't know if he's the only local coach around. I'm not a football person to the
Oh,
core.
you're not?
Not, because my team has been languishing in the first division for a long time, second 11 wise.
Oh, welcome
So
to the
it
club.
makes
Well,
my-
we are in the league now. Track great Olympics.
Oh, that day.
That day, yes.
Of course, I mean, what we all need, for me, competence is the key. Somebody who can do the job. So it doesn't really matter
If it's
whether it's
local
local or foreign.
foreign.
I mean, we need a good coach who can make sure that our boys can focus on the game and do what they know best to ensure that we enjoy the soccer that we so much love.
All right. So, Hini, Kwesi Appiah?
Yeah, I thought that we're going to have a bite on the vetting process, but
Oh,
I'm
the
happy.
vetting.
I'm happy that you are going to sports. I mean, a lot of interesting things
Yes.
are coming out. We are getting people to admit that some of the claims they made about the previous government, they just raise it to move on. Today, one of the energy ministers said the claim that $2 billion, was to be used as kickback in the Sankofa thing was just raised so that they can move on. And yesterday you had Kweku Kwarteng also talking about the need for us to communicate reconciliatorily instead of describing people as incompetent and lazy.
Local or foreign coach.
A lot of things are coming
Local
up.
or foreign
And maybe
coach.
another time we can discuss it. But
You see,
I am
because
for a local coach.
he's
A local
I am for a
coach.
local
Kwesi
coach.
Appiah.
privileged to be a member of the appointment
Appointment committee, yeah.
I
I've
am
actually
not.
given him time earlier.
He wants to go there all the time because if you realize the last time we came,
He did.
Well,
Okay.
But that's
I am
fine.
for a local coach.
Okay.
But
Kwesi
somehow, I am not for Kwesi Appiah, not because of his person.
All right.
Not because of his person, but because of the things surrounding why he was made to leave the Black Stars.
Okay.
I feel if those issues are not addressed properly, he will be ineffective when he returns. And I also think that if he returns, then some people have to be charged for causing financial loss to the state.
For sacking him in the
For
first.
sacking him and paying him that much money. When, clearly, if he comes back, then it will mean that they had no basis.
Yeah.
So that is why I am not too keen on his return. But I think he as a person is a fine coach, just like any other Ghanaian coach available. I've heard your friend, what's the name? The French-born Ghanaian.
Marcel Desailly.
I don't know where his interest has gotten to now, but I will want a local coach. But I just think that Kwesi Appiah will present us with a big challenge, given the way he left the Black Stars.
All right, so I have to leave it here. Thank you very much, Alhaji Alhassan Sohini, the Honourable Member of Parliament for Tamale North, and also the Honourable Andrew Ejapa Mesa, aka Bobo. I saw a comment from 3 Adisco boys asking me if I could see
the crest on
my
lapel.
And I just responded and said, I really don't care. So thank you so much for your time here this evening. Yes, and I'm sure your mates are very proud of you.
Thank you.
All right, so thank you and have a good night, and thanks for watching the show as well.
Shut your eyes, Mary, and don't look at it no matter what happens.
It has begun! Enough, she died!
This is history.